Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for day 4 of the 12 days of Buildmas. Now today's build, as you can probably tell by the mannequins behind me, is a suggestion from another one of my mods, Jay, over in my Discord server, and he wanted me to do a Wicked inspired build. He wasn't too sure like what exactly he wanted to see, so I thought I would do both an interior bedroom and also an outdoor space that were inspired by the movie. Obviously these aren't going to be direct movie comparisons or actually kind of pinpoint accurate to the movie. These are my own interpretation. So I wanted to kind of go off my knowledge of both the film and also the show, which is one of my favorite shows of all time, and kind of figure out what I felt like worked for these characters and maybe my interpretation of it. Now, just so you know, there is still time to give in your suggestions for Buildmas. There has been a huge amount that have poured in over the last few days. So just so you know, I'm going to add the ones to my list that I feel like I have space for and kind of are the most popular. And then any builds that I don't get around to will be done at some point on the channel. They'll be added to like a big list of things to get to. So if you don't see them during Buildmas, they will pop up some point in the new year for you if they are one that has been kind of highly requested and I feel like I could definitely do my interpretation of. Finally, also before we get started, a huge amount of you are still not subscribed to the channel that watch my content, so if you are enjoying the content, please do consider subscribing and also leave the notification bell on because it will tell you when I go live or I post a video, and also make sure you like the video and let's get started. So to start off with, as you can see, I'm doing the interior bedroom. So in here I wanted to obviously do a side for Glinda and a side for Elphaba. So I obviously went with the traditional green and pink kind of color scheme. Obviously this is more of an interpretation of the characters as a whole and kind of the green and pink battle off, so I wanted it to really be heavy on the green and pink. So rather than going for rooms I felt like they may actually like, I kind of wanted it to look like a dorm room that they would share and it would kind of be half and half. So as you can see, I put the mannequins in quite early to represent the two characters, and then I started figuring out the furniture I wanted to use in each. I wanted Glinda's side to feel very pink obviously and very bright and colourful. I did still want it to have the kind of academic side to it, so I do go in and add a lot of books and stuff later on because I did still want her to feel like she is academic. And also on Elphaba's side, I wanted it to very much feel a lot darker but still have points of light, so I wanted to use the new bed frame with all the books on because I felt like this fit her character really well. I obviously used some big windows all around the room to keep it kind of the same throughout, so it felt like it was one room, and then I obviously added a bunch of furniture items that I felt like fit for both. Now there were some items I decided to use all around both sides of the room. For example, I do go in at some point and add in a load of books. I wanted this to be a consistent thing throughout the room, so I felt like it fit both of the characters to be into studying magic and kind of studying in general. I felt like made complete sense for them, and obviously in the movie that is a kind of focus point more so than in the show, so I felt like it was good to highlight that. And I also wanted to make sure both sides had their own unique lighting, but also as well as that had the consistencies of having some of the hovering fairy bubbles that are craftable from the Veil DLC to be around the room to again kind of give off this magical kind of look and fit both the characters. to finish up this room, I went in and added some stuff onto the desks, as well as added some more books. I felt like there wasn't enough. I do go in as well and add in a bunch of droppable items. I drop some of the fairy bubbles from the veil. I also drop in a bunch of melted candles, which I don't think is a shock to anyone, but I really felt like these fit the kind of vibe I was going for in here. And I also added in some other little pieces that I felt like would make sense for these characters to have as an addition in their room. So after that, we are moving on to our exterior build. Now, this is a slightly different vibe. It's not necessarily a kind of link to the Wicked movie or the show itself. It was more an interpretation of the link between Wicked and Wizard of Oz, and I've always wanted to do a Wizard of Oz kind of inspired area, so I decided this was kind of the opportunity to link the two together. Now, I obviously started off with the Wizard of Oz area, which, as you can see, I have created kind of the yellow brick road leading us in, and I wanted to create this really gorgeous kind of like floral field leading to the castle at the end. It was kind of my own interpretation of, I've seen some people do this before, and I felt like I wanted to kind of give it a try, see if I could do it. And then obviously once I have done this section, I do go on to add kind of the more Wicked inspired Elphaba section at the end, because it is kind of linked to the end of this part of the build. So to start with, I added in some topiaries, a bunch of foliage to really circle these fountains, and also then go in and add a bunch of trees all around to cover the area over, and I also add in a bunch of flowers, which you'll see soon. So for the flowers, I decided to use the 3 different colour flowers that we get from the Forgotten Lands, because I feel like these just look amazing because they are square. They kind of block off a whole area, and when you look at them from ground level, from your kind of character's point of view, they create this gorgeous kind of flower field, which I felt made so much sense for this kind of area and for this kind of like style of build. So I went in and started putting those in a diagonal pattern, both below the topiaries and above them, to create this consistent flower field leading you all the way up the yellow brick road, and to kind of give it that really nice whimsical look with all the flowers about. Now, to kind of enclose the area, I decided to use some of the hedge fences and some of the little floral bushes as well to kind of enclose the area off. Obviously, in the movie, it wouldn't have been this case, but I feel like I wanted it to really kind of feel enclosed because I was only making this build so big, and I wanted to kind of make it look like that when you are walking through this area, you can't really see the outside kind of empty parts of this floating island. So I decided to use the hedges, and then I used some symmetrical green trees to obviously fit with the green theme but also keep it really, really bright in here. I wanted this area to feel like it was this kind of like bright magical place, not knowing what's kind of actually going on in here. So I wanted to really capture that and added in some lighting to again illuminate the area and make it feel really, really bright when you're walking through. Now after that, we are working on our Wicked inspired area, or I guess our Elphaba inspired area, and this is using a lot of the new green items from the Star Path. So if you don't recognize a lot of these, they are from the current Star Path. They are the bonus items. They're these gorgeous dark wood and green items. I do wish they didn't have snow on them because the snow really does throw it off, but I still wanted to give use to these items, use them in a Wicked inspired build, and I kind of just ignored the fact that it had snow on them. So that is the only downside I feel like to them, but I do still think they're gorgeous items, and I really loved using them in this. So I added in a couple of the fountains, obviously the big gazebo as the main focus point, and added it outside the entrance of obviously the Wizard of Oz kind of inspired area. So I decided to create this as kind of Elphaba's little hideout and kind of make it be her place where maybe she'd run away to and hide. Obviously it wouldn't be this close to the wizard's area, but for the sake of the build, I wanted it to feel like you kind of venture out of her little hideaway and then you end up obviously going down the yellow brick road. So I obviously added in a bunch of green lighting. I do go in and add more, and added in some green pathway as well to really fit her vibe, and then obviously continue to add some more little furniture pieces to kind of round off this area and start getting it ready for some more foliage. Now to finish up in this outdoor build, I added in a bunch of foliage all around. Wanted to make sure it was really bright. I added a lot of dark greens and also some blues as well to give it this kind of more kind of spooky look, I guess. Obviously it's hard to do in this biome that I was in, but I feel like if you did this in a darker biome, maybe like the Glade or the Forgotten Lands, I feel like this area would work really well. And I obviously then added the last final trees before finishing up with the overall build. So here is the final shot of the bedroom first. Now, as you can see, this room is super bright and colourful. We have got Elphaba's side on the right. I used a lot of the bookshelves behind the bookshelf bed to really give it this academic feel. Added in a little cauldron and also a little desk, and kept the green wallpaper to make it really fit with her character's colour scheme. And then on the opposite side, we've obviously got Glinda's very pink room. I still wanted to give it the academic feel, even though it is kind of more pink and whimsy. So I added in a bunch of those and some fairy bubbles all around to add in those extra magical feels. And then after that, we have got the look at the kind of outdoor area. So as you can see, we start off in this Elphaba inspired area with lots of the green furniture. The green lampposts just make everything pop, and I wanted to make it sunset so you could really see everything. We've got some little seating inside where she would hang out. And then we have our pathway leading us to the yellow brick road. Now, as you can see, this area is so kind of daunting to look at, which is what I wanted to go for. The flower fields just completely cover the ground. We've got some clock towers, and then the topiaries to be these kind of more royal areas. The lampposts all around really do light everything up, and then I just used the Disney Palace from the premium shop to kind of reflect the castle in the movie. Obviously it's nowhere near relevant or movie accurate, but I really wanted to just use something that looked really grand and kind of could stand out at the end of this pathway. And then obviously I covered it all with hedges and trees around the edges, just to, as you can see, completely block out the outside world. So here are some shots of the final builds. I hope you guys did enjoy. As I said at the start, none of these are like directly movie accurate or show accurate. I wanted to do my own interpretation on things, and the outdoor build I kind of mashed together with a Wizard of Oz build I've always wanted to do of the Yellow Brick Road. So I thought I'd combine the two and obviously kind of pop them together as a bit of a challenge to myself to see if I could actually do it. But I just love how these looked. I think the indoor room is definitely my personal favourite. I love that these two have their own little space, and I think I did well to kind of keep it even between the two. Let me know down below what you think of the builds and whether you enjoyed them. Again, there is still time to get in your suggestions for the rest of Buildmas, so let me know down in the comments below, or you can head over to my Discord server. The link for that is in the description, and you can also put your suggestions over there as well. I hope you enjoyed day 4 of Buildmas, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5. Bye!